How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to another video. So recently I found out there was a fan wiki, I think, of the Crusade project, the tabletop game similar to 40k, but settled in a universe where a portal to hell opened and humanity now have to fight the forces of hell during the period of the First World War. I made a video a while back talking about the units and the general setting for Crusade. They have slightly fleshed out two factions since then, so why don't we have a look at what they have for us now. The faction we'll be seeing today is the Court of the Seven-Headed Serpent. So, without further ado, let's get right into the video. Jutting from eternally bulging plumes of sticking, corrosive smoke is the Iron City of This, and atop its shrieking black keep can be found the Infernal War Council. There sit 7 of the greatest, most wicked and cunning of the Archdevils, each representing one of the 7 mortal sins made manifest. They are the rulers of the Court of the Seven-Headed Serpent, which oversees Hell's war against creation on Earth. Each is known as one of the heads of the Serpent, and ultimately it is their command that dictates all the military forces of the Great War in the service of the infernal hierarchy. In this twisted, treacherous, and ever-shifting political arena, even the mightiest of devils rarely sits at the Great Council for long. Towering statues of the serpent heads representing wrath, envy, pride, gluttony, greed, sloth, and lust are erected in these by slavering war gangs of Yoke Fiends, only to be torn down again and crushed into rubble as new devil lords rise to the pinnacle of power by trampling over their rivals. The hierarchy of the court is anything but stable. Only Mammon is said to have held the position of the serpent head of greed almost without a break for the duration of the entire Great War. And it is funny that they mention Mammon here, because in the Crusade universe, Mammon is like, you may say that his influence and the type of character he is like the laughing god of the Eldari from Warhammer 40k, or like the Daedric Prince of Madness from the Elder Scrolls series, a god of trickery, you may say. And this somehow permanent influence is also reflected in mythology, because Mammon is not a demon per se, it's more like a concept. Mammon literally just means money in an ancient tongue, that due to war, conquest, conflicts, culture, civilization, and humanity in general, the term was twisted and it was used to refer to money in a negative way, like greed. And that's why basically Mammon in occultism is sometimes referred as the deadly prince of greed. Other positions have seen a bewildering parade of dukes, marquises, margraves, barons, princes, lords, and a myriad of other high nobles that make up the infernal hierarchy. It takes very little for an ambitious prince or princess to make so many enemies that they are disposed and their wings turn, forcing them to begin their ascent from the bottom again. Countless envious pretenders work against the heads of the serpent, seeking to replace them and to gain the glory and prestige that comes with such lofty position. While Beelzebub is the most powerful devil of gluttony by far, the Lord of the Flies scorns his rightful place at the court, waging his battle against creation through his black Cryol instead. This leaves his seat open so the lesser fallen angels can struggle for their honor of sitting on the hungry throne. Upon the commands of the court, the warbands of hell gather at the Hellgate and strike out our unhappy world. Yoke Fiends muster under the banners of their predators and sorcerers. The shattered forms of the Hell Knights are forced into their suits of armor, emerging from their fiery tombs where their bodies are kept crushed under mighty, ever-turning slabs of black basalt. Desecrated saints are brought forth to act as unholy war altars that pollute and pervert the land which they travel over. Ahead of the warbands fly Pit Locusts, the clatter of their wings heralding the coming of the court, with their poison stings leaving burns that cannot be healed. And sometimes, when the deadly omens in Hell's burning sky and black stars are favorable, a hunter of the Lead Hand path will join a warband as they strike out from the mouth of Hell. As the warband marches to join the Great War, joyous and triumphant music played by unseen hands can be heard at these times, for taking part in one of these hunts is seen as a great privilege within the Sheol. When the gate of hell was opened by the ultimate heresy of the Templars, it was the warbands of the court that poured out and took the Levant by the storm. Long before the first heretic legion was ever formed, they fell upon the people of Middle East, Asia and Europe. They crushed the mortal armies sent against them like fire burning dry chaff. Only at Antioch and at the Iron Wall were they eventually checked. Meanwhile, awed even by the list of Hell's servants, countless men and women fall to their knees at the sight of the dark splendor of the court and worship them as gods. Those with truly wicked hearts were spared, and they became the first heretics. Eventually, their numbers would swell into the millions, who now fill the teeming cities and domains under the shadow of the Hellgate. Being both of the material world and of the world of spirits, their foot soldiers can march to make war on earth without a fear of divine retribution, as they do not break the covenant of hell. The court also carefully limits the size of these warbands, so that most of the suffering and dying of the Great War is done by immortals, both to spite the god tyrant Yahweh, but also to enhance their own power. As more humans are corrupted and die in the rebellion, the more God's plan is disturbed, and the greater the power of the devil waxes. Before most warbands, the whips of the Yoke Fiends drive living human slave soldiers of the court known as the Wretched. Captured during one of the hunts of the court, sold to the devils in the heretic domains, or having the misfortune to have foolishly pushed through the places where the borders of the world are thin, their minds are scarred by witnessing the horror of damnation while still alive. But should a wretch bring down a mighty opponent, the law of hell is clear. The mortal will gain its freedom, in memory and honor of the fierce rebellion, when there was war in heaven, and the blood of the angels painted the firmament red. The missions of the court against the faithful do not follow the same logic as one a mortal commander might have. A mighty pretor could strike an insignificant village only to kill a newborn future saint, betray their own mortal followers by suddenly falling upon some unsuspecting heretic settlement, or even clash with a warband of a rival head of the Serpent. The wise do not question the motives of Hell's rage, and heretics accept these occasional attacks against their forces as a fitting judgment for their lack of success in the war against the faithful. Okay, this time we have a bit more of information about this unit, so why don't we take a look at what they have planned for these creatures for now. Yoke Fiends are the twisted stillbirths of cursed devils, crossbred with beasts of the field by the sadistic infernal biopriests. This list of all demon kin are kept in servitude until even the stars go out. Lacking intelligence, tortured by their own perverse existence, and filled with malice, they are fit for nothing but the crudest of tasks. In their innermost chamber of their black heart remains the tiniest polluted shard of divinity, the cruel legacy of their once angelic forefathers. This dim knowledge and the repulsive fallen state fill the Yoke Fiend with unending hatred and envy towards any untouched part of the creation. Throughout the endless plains of hell, the Yoke Fiends keep their greatest boiling cauldrons constantly lit, feeding the fires with the damned. They gleefully throw the endlessly shrieking souls into the boiling vats of pitch, the torment of others being the sole consolation of their miserable existence. Yoke Fiends torment the league-long columns of the still living damned as they march into the lake of fire. They exhibit bestial features such as horns and hooves of cattle or goats, ape-like limbs with immensely dense bones. They hate seeing their own reflections, as in their heart of hearts they know the beauty and glory they have lost for all eternity. Heretic priests whispered that these infernal warriors were once lesser falling angels or mighty mortal champions elevating into devilhood, but then cursed by their liege lord for some slight, real or imagined. Cast out from the burning palaces of the pit, the alabaster architecture of their bodies is now bound, twisted and folded upon itself, and encased in a tomb of their once splendid armor that is now their eternal prison. It is said that to glimpse the body inside is to gaze upon the sheer horror of divine flesh, warped with glaring eyes of light, mouth uttering blasphemies, and pulsating inner organs that gibber and shriek. All of this crushed into a space barely tenth of their original form. Despite a reduction in stature, they retained their inordinate pride and brook no insolence from the wretched mortals that served them. Once party of their secrets of creation, now their minds are clouded with endless blooded waking dreams. Their thoughts are crushed to a singular jet prism of murderous obsession, their forms tormented by the cold of the earthly realm. They are forced to endure just as humans suffer in the flames of hell. They are mighty still, but less than nothing compared to the exalted glory of their original forms. Even so, next to a mortal soldier, they are terrifying and an implacable foe. Desecrated saints are the most prized possessions of the Lords of Hell. Men and women who once were destined to become saints, great prophets or holy ones according to God's plan, but who were led astray and fell from grace. Many of them were once righteous rulers or religion leaders, dedicated to bringing prosperity and glory to their people. But pride, desperation, or an eagerness to achieve martyrdom led them to commit some indelible sin or evil, often for the motives they believed to be good and pure. Some of them sacrificed living humans, thinking it was what demanded of them. Others carried on wars they were commanded to stop, or seek to do miracles through dark magic. When their deeds led them to their downfall and death, they were entombed inside unholy reliquaries, only to wake in hell, and still encased in the shrines that had now become their prison. The husks of these devout, who swore to follow their leaders to death and beyond, formed the towering bodies of these abominations. The remains, along with their armors and weapons, are tarnished and corrupted, and fused together over the long millennia into a walking prison within which the desecrated saint remains conscious in death to witness the never-ending fall and cost of their folly. When the court travels, this blasphemous tabernacle often goes with them, both as a terrifying battle standard, but also as a potent weapon of war. Due to the deviation of the saint's mission to the service of evil, a dark aura surrounds it. Within this area, the laws of God are perverted or cease to exist. Down is up, strength becomes weakness, and the strongest of shield and armor are brittle as glass. When the court of the seven-headed serpent hunts on earth, a great pall of smoke precedes them, and low out of the smoke, the baying and buzzing of the Pit Locusts heralds man's doom. Some tales say they were sealed behind the filth-encrusted bronze gate for eons beyond measure, waiting until the key that opens the bottomless pit was turned in its lock. Others say they are the debased remnants of once proud angels, lesser Ishin that debased themselves at the sacrificial altars to Baal or Moloch, and gorged themselves on the blood of children offered to the graven images. In their bloodlust, they forgot the hidden knowledge of the universe that was their birthright. They hunted the deep and dark places of the earth until they were called forth by the great battle horns of hell. The only thing that's for sure is that when the Hell Gate opened, the terrifying swarm of the Pit Locusts appeared. They delight in tormenting mankind and are imbued with feral cunning and wicked bloodlust. In the first battles of the Great War, which saw the Levant overrun in a string of great victories, the Pit Locusts were instrumental in scattering the formation of the humans who refused to bend the knee to the nobles of hell. As a reward for their part in the battles, the Pit Locusts were granted the right to hunt with the court of the seven-headed serpent, and take their share of the spoils, and gorge themselves on the vanquished. I really like the design of this chimera because they are based on a creature that appears in the Book of Apocalypse. Just have a look at the chapter 9 of the Book of Revelations. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power. And the shapes of the locusts were like unto horses prepared for battle, and on their heads were as it were crowns of gold, and their faces were as the faces of men, and their hair as the hair of women, and their teeth as the teeth of lions. And they had breastplates, as it were breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was as the wing of chariots of many horses running into battle. The hunters of the court of the seven-headed serpent are followers of the left-hand path. They stalk the primordial hunterlands of hell, where they hunt terrifying beasts and perform vile magics and auguries, using the innards of their still-living prey to discern portents and omens. They follow the hidden path, the secret ley lines that connect the eon-old shrines and ruins that still endure in the cancerous, tortured wilds of hell. The hunters hunt the remnants of kingdom, the sites of ancient battles and places of legend, long forgotten by the scribes and the cartographers of hell. To arm themselves, the hunters perform strange rites upon their left arm, inserting nails of infernal iron forged in the foundries of pandemonium. Their left arm grows into wicked shapes, often taking the form of a powerful hunting bow that fires arrows made from the hunter's own deceased blood. Such darts can be used for many purposes, healing their prey, paralyzing them, or causing them to see visions of their own demise. They wear the pale skins of the star-glazing oracle beasts that wander the burning plains of hell. The eyes of the oracles are still alive, even after their death, and watch out for the new masters that wears their skin as a cloak. When called to war, the Devil Lords can really only hope the hunter answers their summons, as the hunters do not always listen. They prefer the solitude of the wilds of hell, but when one can be pursued to join the hunt, they can traverse the paths of no man's land just as easily as the wastes of hell, for the lane lines of hell are reflected upon the fallen creation, allowing the hunter to move through any terrain, find perfect ambushes, and disappear into the shadow spaces where the barriers between worlds are weak. In such hunts, they carry a tormentor chain, a wicked hook with a barb chain that extends and twists upon contact with flesh, capturing their target and ravaging them with pain, yet rarely killing them. The hunter mocks the fate of its prey while dragging them into slavery in the court, to be used as playthings whose pain and suffering elevates the infernal magic of its new masters. I really like the idea of hell being its own ecosystem, with its own sort of hellish cattle. Also, it seems like here in the Trench Crusade universe, hell is just another plane of creation, one that was forsaken by God, and where the fallen angels were trapped under the Hell Covenant. That may explain why the higher demons cannot access our world. But anyways, in my end, that's all there is for today. I really hope you liked the video, guys, and if that's the case, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. That really helps me and the channel. And let me know in the comments down below if you would like to see more Trench Crusade, or what were your favorite units, and any of that stuff. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.